Hi, folks. Welcome to Thursday's Coffee with Jesus. This one might be a little bit longer because there's so much. Let's just read the verse. John 1:14. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Now, let's think about this and what it means. When it says the Word became flesh, so Jesus became flesh, what does that mean? And flesh is a very specific term. Flesh, sarx, means a body that's subject to weariness, pain, misery, and death. So, think about it this way. I don't know how you slept last night. I didn't sleep well. On Monday, I was quite ill. I was vomiting. On yesterday, I was at the dentist and getting needles stuck into me. And today I've just heard of somebody who died, who I visited and prayed with yesterday. He died today. That's what the flesh is. The flesh is subject to weariness. We get tired. The flesh is subject to pain. The flesh is subject to misery and death. And Jesus became that. Veiled in flesh, the Godhead see. That's as the great hymn puts it. And that's just wonderful. Just to think of that. Hebrews 2:14. Since the children have flesh and blood, he too shared in their humanity, so that by his death he might destroy him who holds the power of death, that is the devil. 1 John 4:2. Remember in our coffee with John, we saw this. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus has come in the flesh is from God, but every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist. Philippians 2:5, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. He became not in the sense of ceasing to be what he was before, but that the divine came into the human nature and God became man. That is just wonderful. 1 Timothy 3:16, God is made manifest in the flesh. Hebrews 1:3, the Son is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by his powerful word. I and the Father are one, says Jesus later on in John 10:30. Anyone who's seen me has seen the Father. Okay, I'm actually not going to do a lot more on that because we'll come back to the full of grace and truth. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll stick with this one verse because it's such a powerful, such a beautiful, such an extraordinary thing. But here's the point. There is an almighty God who created the whole universe. He is spirit. He is the Logos. Jesus is the Logos. There's Father, Son, and Spirit. How do we know this God? This God came in human flesh. In Greek thought, the flesh was considered much weaker and worse than the spirit. In fact, you could then abuse the flesh if you wanted. But the fact that God came in human form, first of all, I think it should teach us to value our own bodies. Secondly, it should teach us to value our souls, that he did this for us. And thirdly, I think it should cause us to marvel, to wonder, and to love him. Jesus got tired. Jesus got sick. Jesus wept. Jesus died. Yet Jesus also rose. Jesus is now in heaven. And his flesh on the throne of heaven is a guarantee that our flesh too will rise and be reunited with our souls, and we will spend eternity with him. Yeah, what a right we've been given, eh? God bless you, and see you tomorrow. Bye.